Every Muslim who calls for us to vote within a nation-state system is calling for nationalism. Because what happens to us when you vote within a system that is a nationalistic system, you become a part of the system. Every single Muslim who calls for us to obey the tyrants of the Muslim lands, that says, no, Islam says you have to obey the rulers, even though Islam says that you have to obey the khulafa, not rulers who rule with kufr and divide us and rule us according to colonialist interests. So everybody who calls for obedience or loyalty to the rulers or the systems of nationalism is somebody who's calling for the paralysis of the ummah, whether they realize it or not. Anybody calling for anything other than the khilafah, it's somebody calling for the paralysis of the ummah, because the only way for this body to start moving again is through the khilafah. There's no other system available. Sometimes people even say we need to do a federation, like a European Union, and we've heard this before. But now you understand this context, you realize these people are actually calling us to further paralysis. No, let's remain divided. Let's keep the body still divided, but let's have somebody represent the body, the paralyzed body, and speak on behalf of the paralyzed body. That's a solution. That's really going to help us. The answer is no. The only solution is for us as an ummah to get the body to work together again, for the militaries to work together again as one unit, for the resources to work together in as one unit, to remove every single ruler, tyrant, enemy, shaitan, who's now standing over us, dividing us, intentionally watching what's happening in Gaza and elsewhere and doing absolutely nothing. We need to break free of this cancer and uproot it from our hearts and our minds. We need to hate nationalism with all of our heart. We need to blame nationalism for every single death. Every time you see in the videos a mother crying or a child crying covered in blood, don't just hate the Zionists. Don't just hate the Americans. They're kuffar. They're our enemies from day one. We know what they are. The real enemy is the one that you were not looking at. We need to remember every time you see that, you need to think of nationalism. You need to think of the protectors of nationalism. You need to think of the ones who are calling for nationalism. We need to hate the rulers and their states and their constitutions and everything that they represent. This is what Hizb ut-Tahrir calls you to. We must return to submission to Allah Azza wa Jalla.